Ernst Laraque, how are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
To kick us off, could you tell us a bit about your journey in judo? We want to hear about your career, how you started your gym, and what inspired you to take this path.
Well, I started judo when I was 7 in Haiti. My dad had a judo club, so I started judo there. And at 16, I was born here in Canada, in Montreal. So at 16, I decided to come back here to go to university and do more judo. So that's how I got to the national team here. And I did some results. And then I switched back for Haiti, where I eventually went to the Olympics twice, and I had a few medals in the Pan Ams. So that's it. So at the end of my career, I started coaching at a club called AMS, which was a lot of martial arts united, and I was doing judo, and it went very well. So I never stopped. So after my wife went to the Olympics in Rio, I decided to open. We decided both to open the club and do judo and fitness. So that's it.
Very interesting. And so you competed in the Olympics in 2000 and 2004, is that correct?
Exactly. I
Okay.
competed in Sydney and Athens. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. We're going to get into your competitive career. I do have some questions regarding that as well as coaching. My second question for you is, and this is, I've been asking people about this. 2024 is a 100-year anniversary of organized judo in Canada. What does this major milestone mean to you personally and professionally?
Well, it's a big thing. It's a big thing because I've seen since I was in the national teams to now, I've seen the judo evolving so much in Canada, and Canada always had a good judo, always had a good judo system, but now it's one of the best in the world. So it's great to see that we are working the clubs and the federations too, and we have the result. We can see the results right now. So it's a big thing. It's a 100 years, but it's 100 years where a lot of people have been working, and now we can see the results with the national team.
Reflecting on your journey as both a competitor and now coach, can you share a pivotal moment that significantly shaped your philosophy and approach in judo?
Um, well, I've I've always been very athletic, so I did a lot of sports when I was younger, and so everything kind of came easy at the beginning.
Hmm.
It's not until I lost at the nationals, uh, the first time that I went at senior nationals, that I realized that if I wanted my dream to come true, or if I wanted to come close to my dreams, I had to work. I had to train a lot. And it changed my life completely because still I train a lot, and I live by training people. So it really made a huge difference, because before I was playing the game, and I thought I don't have to train that much because I'm skillful, because I'm talented. But I realized that I had to work, and the fact that I worked so much during my career made me who I am right now.
Very interesting. I'm curious, can you take us back to the 90s, in Montreal judo? How would you describe the scene in Montreal for judo in the 90s and early 2000s?
Well, the way it was Shidokan was the base. Everybody had to go to Shidokan, just like the IMS right now. Everybody had to go to Shidokan to train. The only difference is that it wasn't mandatory. If you wanted to get better, you knew you had to go train there. Me, I always talked to my club, which was Akudokan, but I used to go to Shidokan to do 3 times a week to train with the best guys, you know. So Shiragan was the big club where the national team was, and that's it. So every week we would face the best guys in Canada, and that's what shaped me into the judo player that I became. Even if I fought for Haiti after, but a big part of my judo, a big part of my success have been made here in Canada, in Montreal.
Interesting. And I'm curious to hear about representing Haiti, and I'll ask that later on, but I'm curious to know representing Haiti internationally. In terms of coaching, when coaching your athletes, how do you empower them to break through their mental barriers and reach their full potential, even when they doubt themselves? I'm sure there are moments where you can tell that your athlete is probably doubting themselves when they're out there fighting. Like, how do you get them to break through?
Well, first of all, you have to know the athlete. You have to know the athlete very well. So that's why I try to be close to my athletes. Because some athletes you have to push. Some athletes you have to reassure. So once you know what kind of athletes you have, then in different situations you know how to work. But one main thing is coming back to the work, the thing I said before about working. At the tournament is different, but at the club, the way we try to go past barriers is by working a lot, putting the person in the situations that they don't like, you know, and you see it and you see it and you see it and you get used to it. And it's not as big as it was before, you know? So that's what we try to do during training. When at the tournaments, I try to see what kind of judo guy he is. Is he really stressed? If he's really stressed, then I'm gonna try to make him relax. You know, I'm gonna make jokes. We're gonna try to. I'm not gonna push him really. I'm gonna try to make him more relaxed so he can express his talent more. But somebody needs to be pushed. Some people need to be pushed. So if my judo player is that kind of person, then I'm gonna push them a lot. But one thing is, I try as the coach to always be that voice that is gonna tell you you can do it. You think you cannot do it, but you can. We can go to another mate. We're gonna do it one mate at a time, and that's it. That's the way I do it. I try to see what kind of athletes I have, and then I select my strategy according to that.
In terms of your own development as a competitor and you know, fighter, ultimately this is a combat sport. When you think back to your time as an athlete, what was some of the most important feedback your coaches gave you that kind of changed your, not necessarily changed your approach, but really motivated you to not just lean in on your natural athleticism, but and your skills, of course, but to really commit harder to training and pushing it to the next level?
I remember one time, it was a training camp, it was a national training camp, and I was doing very, very good. You know, I was throwing a lot, I was doing good. And then at the end of the training, I was joking around with my teammates, and one of the coach called me and told me, "You are doing good. You're throwing a lot. It's very good. But I see you, and I have and I'm under the impression that you can do another training. That means you didn't push yourself enough." I think that's one of the best advice that I've ever heard, and I use it with my students too, with my athletes.
Fascinating.
One other thing is, it was André Sadej who's coach for the IB. I don't remember that. Who's coach for
Judo.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
I'm not a very I'm not a very aggressive people, you know. And so, but in judo, you have to be able to get some aggressivity out. And once I didn't do really well at a fight, and he asked me why, what happened, and I told him, you know, yeah, I'm not really aggressive by nature. He said the aggressiveness that we need for judo comes from the will. If you really want it, you're gonna have the right tools to do it, and that really shocked me too at the time. It stayed with me.
As I'm asking you these questions, I'm wondering, and I'm sure you have a ton of stories and memories. In your time during your days as a competitor, did you document any? Did you document your stories in terms of your routine, your journal, your cheat? Like, have you tracked all that?
Well, not really for my routine. What I did a lot is that I took a lot of notes on judo, you know, on my work on judo. So I would note what worked today, what didn't work, and I would try to break every technique apart, you know, so I can see all the parts that makes it work. So I have a lot of had a lot of notebooks home still. Wow. That my wife want to throw away, that are notes from judo. In terms of my routine, not really, but it was pretty simple. So I didn't have really to know it. So it was, I wake up in the morning, I go to train technical or weight, and I go to school. And then after I go to, if I didn't do weight, I go to weight, I go to sleep, and training at night again. So it was almost every day like that.
Now, in terms of, I'm curious. I want to ask you this question and sidestep on another topic. Obviously, you're of Haitian descent, right? And you were born in Haiti. Pardon me. And
I was born here.
So yeah, you mentioned that. Sorry, you were born in Canada, but you did go back to Haiti.
Yeah, I lived 16 years in Haiti.
Wow, and you speak Creole, I bet, and
yes.
all that, right? So, yes, in terms, if you don't mind me asking this question, obviously there's a huge. I live in Ottawa. There's a huge Haitian community here, but it's nowhere near the size as the huge community in Montreal. What back in the day? What did your the Haitian community in Canada think of judo as far as, you know, as a sport, and you know, you yourself, you're Haitian Canadian. What do they think of you participating in the sport? I'm just curious because it's
at the beginning they didn't think much. The beginning they didn't think much because for Haitian there's soccer and soccer only, you know. And then when I started having results, though, I received a lot of love, and I'm really grateful for that, because I could see that they didn't react well at the beginning because they didn't know what it was about. But when I started having results, they started hearing my names, that I won that or I won other stuff, then the reaction was very good. And even right now, if I go to the Haitian neighborhoods and I go buy something, most of the time I'm going to see somebody that recognize me, because in their opinion, I made Haitian proud.
Right. Very cool. It's interesting too, because in Montreal, obviously there's a ton of other combat sports athletes from various other sports that, you know, I'm speaking about Haitian Canadians, and predominantly, I guess, in the late 2000, mid to late 2000s, we had a lot of not a lot, maybe I'd say 5 or 6, predominantly in the mixed martial arts scene, that really and also boxing, I should say, obviously, you know, which is huge in various Caribbean communities. But it's interesting because I hadn't heard a lot about you know, judo in Haiti. But I've always heard about, boxing and of course MMA in the 2000s and so on. So that's why I was asking them that question. Now, going back to the theme of coaching, what are some of the unique challenges of coaching judo, particularly in Canada? I know this is a big one here, but I'm curious from your experience, what are some of the unique challenges of coaching judo here in Canada, particularly if you're trying to develop international level competitors?
Well, the society is changing when people are trying to some things that were like kind of extreme before, they're trying to level them now, but there's good parts and bad parts into it, I think, because right now where my club is, I had to take a few years to get the people used to the way I work and to my mentality and to what I want to create. Because a lot of people, most of the people that came here were against competition, against, so we was like really moderate, we want them to have fun, just have fun. And yeah, well, all my kids training is about having fun. It's playing games and stuff and doing judo, and you don't even notice. But still, I always try to involve them in competition and everything. And the response wasn't too good at the beginning. So I think that's one of the challenges that we have is that uh, in some people think that competition is not really good for for their kids or for them, and we have a hard time when we're trying to train somebody the way you have to train to be an international athlete. Sometimes it's not well perceived, and it's kind of hard because sometimes I can see some athletes that have a huge talents, but I'm trying to train them to be, let's say, the best in Canada, but it's not possible because the environment that they're in and the way the environment works, where sometimes they want them to have rewards that they didn't work for yet.
Wow.
And it makes it kind of difficult because if you want to be an international athlete or you want to be a high level athlete, you can't lie to yourself. You can't lie to yourself. You have to make the work, and you're going to see the results of your work or nothing. So that's it.
Very
So
interesting.
that's
If you don't mind, let's keep talking about this. And what is your approach? I mean, I know you speak of you just spoke about making judo fun and especially for the younger kids. But how do you particularly I guess for teenagers, how or preteens, how do you motivate them to see the potential in them that you see and kind of nudge them towards competition? Like, is that a conversation where you speak with the parents or the parents involved? Is it more of a, I guess, yeah,
it's
to tell us
it's
about your
more
approach.
it's more about the relationship between the athletes and
Mm,
the athletes and their teammates and the athletes and the club. What I try to do is I try to do to make the club as comfortable, as fun as possible. They want to come to the club. They want to come and train. They want to see the way I try to build the team. They want to come and share with the team. And at some point, it becomes natural to follow because everybody's going to tournaments. So they start thinking, oh, why not? And then they start having results because I think we're doing a good job. They start having results, and most of the time, that's the beginning. They're ready to work, and they're ready to work harder. And even some of the parents that didn't think it was the good thing to do, they see that the kids are happy with it. They love the kids, so they go with it.
in terms of you also mentioned that there was some apprehension. People were not all that interested in the idea of competition.
Yes.
Why? I mean, I hear that, I understand that, but which I understand it, but I also understand that that really kind of doesn't make sense in a way. And I say this respectfully, like I'm not a competitor. Obviously, I'm a fan of the sport, but in any sport, isn't competition where everything happens, right? Isn't that, you know what I'm saying? Like, isn't that the
Yes, yes.
like
But there's
particularly when it comes to the sport aspect of judo? I know it's more than a sport, but isn't competition where one really finds out what they're made of in terms of their abilities, their skills, their will to win? So I guess what I'm asking you here, sorry for rambling, what I'm asking is why do you think there was apprehension towards the idea of competing? What's that about?
because I think that because that when you become a, a competitor and then you pursuing uh, high level athlete dream,
Mhm.
it becomes kind of like a passion that can look to somebody like too much,
Right,
like it
right.
takes too much, like you have to sacrifice too much, like and they want to keep in the way that I understand what they tell me, because obviously me, I'm a competitor, so that's not the way I think. But if I really understand what they tell me, it's trying to get balance in the kid's life, not to go too much to some extremes. That's what I think it is. I if is it the right way to see? I don't know. Me, I've always been a competitor. It's in me,
Right.
but I can say that they are open too. As I told you, when the kids decide, okay, I want to do tournaments, they go with it. So sometimes it's you have to educate the parents. I don't educate the parents by talking to them. I educate the parents by letting them see what the kids are doing, or the kids are evolving, or the kids are happy about it, and then they kind of change their mentalities sometimes. That maybe they still think the same thing, but they give the kid a chance to do what they want.
Very interesting. I was at the Open Nationals, which happened a couple of weeks ago or so, and I saw you and your team. Obviously, you were there coaching, and I saw. I mean, from my perspective, I always find the role. I always find the role of the coach to be, or just coaching in general, to be a fascinating thing to witness because there's so many different personalities that coach various sports, and this sport, of course, same thing. There's different energies, different personalities, and there's diversity of styles and I guess approaches as to how coaches communicate to their players when they're fighting, competing out there. And one thing that you see up close and personal in a tournament when you're there, taking pictures, interviewing, is you see a lot of raw emotion when people leave, uh, the competition area and they're walking. You either see like, people getting, excited because they won, and then you see the opposite of that as well. And it's the reality of any sport, you win, you lose. And I guess where I'm going with this is tell us your overall thoughts on the Open Nationals and how the team did. And also, what is the role of the coach in the sport, in your opinion?
Okay, well, I think the Nationals were great. I think the level was very high, and I've been noticing that for the past years. The level is getting up. It's very good. My team did well enough. I knew it wasn't because we had some great nationals. I knew it wouldn't be like that this time, but we did well. We did well, and I'm really happy about them, about what they did, and I really had a lot of fun there. Coming to the role of the coach, having been a competitor, I know how lonely you can feel on that man.
Mm.
Sometimes you feel very lonely, especially if you've been trying what you think should work and it's not working. And that's when you need your coach, because you need your coach to be your eyes from the outside.
Right.
Because when you're in the fire, there's a lot of things that you don't see, because your vision is like tunnel. You see,
Right.
you know, and the coach from the outside, he sees a lot of things that you can't see, and then that's the information that he can give you that is going to change the game. Some athletes don't are not able or are not able yet to change their game plan if it's not working. If they're alone, then they're gonna keep going with the first game plan that is not working, and they lose. If they have a coach, then the coach is gonna make a new game plan. We're gonna change things. We're gonna shape things, and I think that's the role of the coach, and I think that's really important, because it comes to a point where the athlete maybe needs help, maybe needs more power. So even if it's just for to cheering up, I remember coaching an athlete at the national, and they were in overtime, and the guy's been fighting for 10 minutes, and he was about to give up. He was about to give up. And I talked to him at every mate, and I told him, he's as tired as you are. You're not going to let go. Why would you give up and not him? And then at the end, he won. And he told me, if you didn't talk to me all the time, I would give up. So that's it. I think that's the role. The role is to give the athlete that plus that they can get from themselves at the time.
Right. I recall hearing you coaching because I was standing nearby, and I could tell you had a good rapport for one particular fight in particular. One match, you were communicating actively, and I could tell there was like almost a call and response with the athlete in a way, like really listening to your feedback and guidance, and I'm sure that's built up over years, right? So that rapport and that
yes, you have to build a relationship. The athlete has to trust you, has to trust your competence, but has to trust you as a person too. Because it's not only judo, it's emotions, it's a lot of things. So it's a relationship that we built, and when it's well done, when it's at its best, then we can make a lot of things with that. We can make miracles, actually.
Big time. And it's funny too, or it's interesting, not funny, because a lot of these athletes, some of them are so young, they're teenagers, but they're at that age where there's just a lot of emotion, and it's pivotal years as far as their development as athletes, and I think it's interesting to observe them fight and to kind of see them get coached and develop essentially as fighters, and putting in the time and so on, because it's a combat sport. It's a fight. Speaking of which, as a competitor, Ernest, what's the greatest achievement you've had in your judo career, and what did it take mentally and physically to get there?
I think my biggest achievement was a second place at Dutch Open, which now is like Grand Prix of Rotterdam, I think it is. So it was one of the big tournament of the circuit, and I won silver medal. And then I placed at Pan Am 6 times. So that would be that, But if I remember the time that I placed in Dutch Open, it was a total commitment to judo. That's what got me to this. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that I didn't have as good results. It was like I had a lot of commitment, but the commitment wasn't as much. When I had that it was just not just that tournament. I had good results for a few tournaments like in a row, and it was a total commitment to judo. I was training. I was training physically. I was training mentally, visualization, meditation. I was doing weights. Everything was in my life was directing to getting to be a champion at the international level, and that's what it is, and that's why maybe some people think it's extreme, because it takes a lot of sacrifices. It takes a lot of dedication that some people may look like too much, may see like it is too much. I remember when I was an athlete, a lot of my friends would say, "Oh, that's too much. You can't do anything." But it was my choice. It was my dream, and I did it like that. And the funny thing is, I think that I didn't get to the point because most of us athletes, we didn't get to the dream yet. We worked towards it. We've done a lot of things, but we didn't get to the dream that we had. But I think one of the reasons is that I didn't sacrifice enough. So it's funny because some people saw that I was sacrificing too much, but that's it. It's a lot of sacrifice. It's total commitment. That's it.
Do you relay that to your students?
Yes. I don't miss a chance to tell them that what they do, the commitment that they put in it, it's what is going to give them the results. The level of commitment that you have is the level of result that you're going to have. Some people are more talented, so at the beginning it won't be like that, but it's going to change. Because when you get to the highest level, everybody's strong. Everybody is skillful. So who's more committed? Who's stronger mentally? That's what makes the difference.
Did you say you also meditated as well?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Very cool. So you were literally like your entire spirit was behind was
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You aligned everything. Okay. Very interesting.
Because I got to a point where I could feel that I wasn't using my full potential, but I didn't know how to use it. Wow. I felt it, but I didn't know how to use it. So I tried a lot of. I knew it could not be anything else but the connection of the mind and the body, So I worked a lot towards that. It gives me a lot in my life. Even right now, I'm using it. It's very. I'm happy I did that.
Yeah, meditation is life changing, and it's a powerful tool. Absolutely. I think I have to ask you this question, but we might stick another hour or two on it. What you just said there about knowing that you weren't using your full potential, I just have to ask you a follow-up. How did you know that you were not? Like, was it what?
Because sometimes I remember one time in Japan, we trained for 2 hours, and I thought it was over. And they told me motodachi. Motodachi is like I go in the middle, and fresh guys are coming to me, and I'm still fighting. I'm the one fighting. And for the first 4 fights, I was horrible because I was in my head. Oh, I'm already tired. I have to do that. Even if that's not what I'm saying, but deep inside, that's what I'm saying. So for the first 4 fights, it wasn't going well at all. And then 5 to 7 was getting better. At 7, it was like as if my mind said, okay, we can't take it anymore. You're on your own. And then I started fighting so well, throwing the guys. And then I started feeling things that I've never felt, So that's one of the times that I realized I could do so much more. But my mind, the way I perceive things sometimes, blocks me. That's it.
Well, I really appreciate your openness here to discussing this because it's fascinating to hear, and you're being very open about all of this. It's interesting too because it's almost like you had a. Are you familiar with Goggins?
Yes,
It's almost like you had a David Goggins moment, in terms of really pushing yourself to what you.
Yeah.
I'm generalizing it, David Goggins. Like you pushed yourself to your own extreme, but then you realize your own perceived limitation.
Exactly.
But you realized you could way surpass that, and you had so much more to give, which is incredible. And
exactly. Yeah. The only difference is that Goggins succeeded into, let's say, bring that more often. I cannot say that I succeeded. I can say that I got better, but not at the point that would take me to where I knew I could get.
Wow. One last follow-up on this, because we're already, I believe, 30 or 40 minutes into this, and I still have a lot more questions to ask, so I hope we can have a bit more time. But when you look back, Ernest, when you look back at your competitive career, and I'm asking this respectfully, I know it's a personal question. Do you look back with a sense of like regret? Or a sense of are you proud of it? Or because I'm asking this because you're saying you didn't feel like you fully gave everything you had. So when you think back now as an older person, I believe you're in your early 50s, but when I saw you, if you told me you were 20, I would have believed you. You know what I'm saying? But no, like when you look back at your career, what emotions come to mind as far as?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I can say that I've been working on it, and it's more proud now, but it's a little bit of both because I know how I could have done a lot better. But so at the beginning when I first stopped, it was very hard to because of that. But then again, with time, you see things from further. I think distance made me see things differently. And I think that I've done good things, and I've done a lot of things, especially for Haiti, because when I started making results for Haiti was at a time where Haiti wasn't making results in any sports, So that's why judo was named at a certain point the sports that wins. But at this time, I was one of the key player to this, So I know I'm proud of what I did, and what I've done. But yes, it's still in the back of my mind that I had the potential to do more.
Are you aware that the Veterans Championship is happening in Las Vegas? I think in November or something like that.
Yes.
Are you thinking of jumping in there?
I have athletes that are going. The tournament is over for me. That's it for me.
Okay, fair enough. Now I want to jump to another theme here. In fact, this is one question I've been really wanting to know in terms of judo in Haiti. So judo has a rich history globally, of course, but its journey in Haiti might not be as well known. I understand this is a big question, but could you provide us kind of like a brief history of judo in Haiti?
Yeah, sure. Judo started in Haiti during Duvalier, right, which is the father, which was the dictator that was there at the time. And so people started doing judo because some people came from France or for other country and started doing judo. And Haitian likes fighting sports, so it was starting to be kind of popular. But the problem is that some judo player beat up some guards from Duvalier.
Oh, wow.
So judo was forbidden. So that's my dad started doing judo at this time, and judo was forbidden for I think 10 to 15 years in Haiti.
Wow, because a judoka beat up the Duvalier's guy.
Because at the carnival, that there had some soldiers that went to a group where it was all judo players, and they got beat up. So Duvalier saw that. Since he was a dictator, he doesn't allow any. Everything is a threat,
Right,
so
right.
it was forbidden for 15 years. So that was about the time that my dad was turning here. And then when my dad came back to Haiti, it was the son that was in power, and he changed that. So a few clubs started to appear. So it was a club in Pétionville where my dad was, and then it was like 3, 4 clubs, but all of them in Port-au-Prince, nothing in the rest of the country. And then in 1978, my dad founded his club, and at the same year, he went to the other senseis and asked them, why don't we do a federation? So that's where the Haitian Judo Federation was funded, when the Judo Haitian Federation was founded in 1978. And so it took a long time before judo became competitive, but a lot more clubs were growing everywhere in the country. And then at around 1985, Haiti started to compete internationally. And then that's when judo got really big, because we started making results at the Caribbean level. And then we were making results at some tournaments in the US. They were traveling to go to the tournaments in the US. And then came the time where the guys before me, just the generation just before me, they won the first Pan American medal. At this time, I was fighting for Canada. I was at those Pan American Championships. I medaled for Canada, but there was a guy that medaled for Haiti, and that was the start of it. And then when I switched, it was me and a guy named Joel Brutus that was fighting 100 kilos. We got so many medals in the Caribbeans, in the South Americans, in the Pan Ams for Haiti, that judo was always in the radio. And so judo became very, very popular. So now in Haiti, judo is a popular sport because of that.
Wow.
The problem is, with the situation now, nothing works. So there's not much judo going on right now.
Right. Yeah. The situation is there's I mean, if anyone is following the news, they know obviously it's a very complicated situation there. But as far as this history here you've just shared with me, I was unaware of that fascinating history. Particularly as to how it was banned. Which is hilarious. which begs the question. The follow up is, are there any books documenting this story? Are there any?
Not yet. There's a guy that is working on a book right now.
Okay.
I don't know where he's
going. Is he
going.
in Canada or?
No, he's in Haiti.
He's in Haiti. Okay.
He's working on a book, but Haitians, there's Haitians everywhere. So
Right.
if the book gets out, it's going to be in Canada too. That's for sure.
Big time. Yeah, that's really interesting. I think it's even even a documentary, it would be interesting to hear that story. And also, you mentioned, oh yeah, I wanted to know in terms of within the Caribbeans of Caribbean islands, that part of the world, there's some really interesting judo as well in the DR, Puerto
Yes.
Rico, Cuba, of course, you know, Mexico, and I could go on and on. But like as far as when you were competing, were there a lot of training camps within the Caribbeans where you could train with the Cubans, for example, or
Well, the training camps, the most of the training camps were Cuba, Venezuela, and DR.
okay.
DR became really big now. They're really
Mhm.
strong, but they weren't that strong at the time. But you
Uh-huh.
could see that they were going they were going to be strong because they were working towards that. They were making training camps. They have a crazy development system. So that's it. Yeah. And Venezuela was one country where there was a lot of training camps.
How would you describe Haitian judo in terms of
It's
style?
actually it's pretty simple. Well, it's we we have we have some qualities that we that shaped our judo. Really strong physically, really explosive, and intense. So
Mm,
that's all Haitian judo is. That the guy is gonna be so strong physically, is gonna be explosive, and then Haitian have that love for beauty in the sports.
mhm,
Like for soccer, they love Ronaldinho and stuff like that because he has to look good.
mhm.
So most of them are very technical too. So I would
Interesting.
say strong, explosive, technical, which leads to the downfall, which is sometimes most of the times they get um, tired more easily because
Okay.
so much power, so more explosiveness. That's a lot of fuel for the body. That the body loses. Yeah,
Are they as explosive as, say, Fonseca like explosive? Like that sort of.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's the way it is. I always make jokes when my students have to go fight in Haiti to qualify to do internationals. I always make jokes to them. I always say, if you hold them well and tactically you're good, you're gonna beat them. But they can do one Serenagi and break your legs because it's
Wow.
so explosive,
Wow.
so powerful. You know, yeah,
That's awesome.
really, really.
That is really cool. As a follow-up, can you tell us about some of the judo players you're currently coaching who are representing Haiti in international competition, particularly those who live and train they live in Montreal, they train at your dojo, if you can tell us about them. And also, can you share a bit about their journey, their training, and their goals for the future?
Yeah. Well, I have a few athletes that are Haitian that are training with me, but there's two of them that are making the international circuit. And the first one is Philippe Metellus. And Philip has been doing judo with me. Philip started judo in my dad's club in Haiti.
Wow.
And at 16, so he's just like me, he came back to Canada because he was born here too, just like me. And so he came back and he started doing judo with me. So it's been since that he's been doing judo with me. He tried for the Olympics last cycle, and he was the last one not chosen.
Hmm.
And so he's trying this time again, and he's in pretty good position to go to Paris. Uh,
How good? Like as in like it's happening or is
it looks like it's happening. He has to go to Lima, which is the last tournament, the last qualifiers, And if he does good in Lima and nobody that is too close does too good, he's going to the Olympics. So Lima is important, but I can say that right now the chances are good. The chances are really good.
That's awesome.
So that's Philip, and we have Ernst Laraque, which is the second guy. Ernst Laraque started with me here. I think 4 years ago, 5 years ago, he did judo in Haiti too. And well, he should be the guy for the future. You know, he's still learning. He's still learning. He's not at the international high level yet, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna get it. He's really skillful, really talented, and really committed too.
Right on. In terms of weight division, can you tell us? I believe Philip is in the same division you competed in. Is that correct?
Yes, Philip is 73 kilos and Ensley is 81 kilos.
How would you describe their styles? Well, what are they? What are their strengths actually?
Well, Philip is very technical. Philip is very technical. Nice Uchimata, nice Usodo. He's very strong physically too, very explosive. Ensley is more of a energizing bunny. You know, he's gonna go and go and go and go and go. That's the kind of guy that could make you cry because he's gonna do the same thing over and over again. So right now he's not as skillful as Philip or as some guys, but that tenacity is always that the will that he has to always go and go and go again makes him strong and makes him a nightmare for some people. It's a nightmare because the guy never stops.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, you know what? You competed internationally for Haiti. What did it mean for you to be? And obviously, you competed for Canada, and then you competed for Haiti. What did it mean for you to be competing for Haiti?
It was I was so proud to compete for Haiti because as I told you, I lived in Haiti 16 years. That means my teenage years. So that's where the heart is. That's what I always say that that's where the heart is. So to be able to compete for Haiti was an honor for me, and I took it really personal too because we're living so many bad things. We're living so many hard things that people is suffering so much that if I could bring some positive, I was so happy to be able to do it. And I think that's what I did for 10 years. So it was, to me, it was like a blessing in disguise that I had when I decided to change for Haiti. But it comes with a lot of problems too. Fighting for Haiti is it's so hard. That's why those
like
guys.
what? Sorry. When you say problems, can you just elaborate on?
Everything is complicated. Everything is complicated.
Mm.
You know, we go into tournament. They don't know where they're gonna get the money. The day before the tournament, they call you and they say, "Okay, we got the money. We're going." You know, you've been preparing, but you don't know if you're going. You know, it's always like that. Sometimes when I was an athlete, I remember one time I got to Hungary. I arrived in Budapest and I went to the hotel and they said, there's no Haiti.
Oh my
You know,
God.
it's always like that. Always, always, always. Like sometimes they don't give you no money to prepare nothing. Like Philip is like a hero to me because he did all the circuit with his own money.
Wow.
Because Haiti didn't give him money at all. So he went. I can give you a simple example of those last 2 months. He went to the Pan Americans in Brazil. He went from the Pan Americans. He went to Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, came back here, went to Abidjan, and he's going to Lima next week. He's paying for all that.
You're kidding. Wow. That is Damn, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That's a lot of
exactly.
dedication.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
yeah. He's an accountant, so he's working. He's got that, but it's a lot of commitment.
Sorry, did you say he's an architect?
Accountant.
Oh, accountant. Okay. Well, there you go. He knows how to manage money. So he's
Exactly.
brilliant. Sounds like a win-win. You know what? As a follow-up question, what does it mean to you now to be coaching and training these athletes who are representing Haiti internationally? And how does the Haitian Canadian community feel about this? Because I believe I saw a news clip of both athletes in the dojo training. I think it was, when was this released? Maybe 2 or 3 months ago or something like that. And I'm just curious
Yes.
to know, for you personally, you're a former competitor, of course, you competed for Haiti, for Canada, and now you're coaching these competitors who are representing Haiti. What does that mean for you personally, and also for the Haitian Canadian community? What are they telling you?
Well, first of all, coaching is very dear to me because I judo gave me so much. Judo, I can say that everything that I have in my life or everything that I am in my life, judo gave me. So I always thought it was important that I gave it back. So that's why it was important for me to coach. And knowing the relationship, the love that I have for Haiti, and knowing the sadness that is in me to see the way things are going for my country, it was like a gift that I received to be able to coach those athletes those athletes that are gonna get medals and get a positive image of Haiti. So I'm really proud, and I'm really happy to be able to do that.
And what has the community expressed?
The community, the response is very good. The response is very good. Things have changed since before. People were like very, very, they weren't happy easy. They weren't easily happy. But now people see the situation in Haiti. They see all the bad things that are going. So people are more positive. So they applaud people that are trying to do good for Haiti, or they're trying to give a good image from Haiti. So I had a lot of love when I started coaching for Haiti, and Phil and Slay is the same. I know when people see them, they always tell them that they're proud of them, and so that's it. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. As a follow-up, I also want to ask you, you have competitors at your dojo also that are representing Canada internationally. Can you tell us about
Yes.
them and their stories and achievements?
Well, there's a few athletes that are representing Canada. The the one that was most successful, obviously, was Julien Flascador, who won the Pan Am Championships, who won some Opens, Pan American Opens, and who did very well at some Grand Prix. He had a great cycle. It's too bad he's not going to make it for the Olympics. Making it for the Olympics for Canada is very hard, as Canada is placing so many people. After like the getting the quota is very hard. So he's not getting it, but we're very proud of Julian. The kids here in the club, they talk about him a lot, like a hero or like somebody they want to become with. And we have Coralie Godbout, that tried that is Canadian champion a few times with the club, and she still has time because she's very young, and I hope that's gonna work for her. Because she is motivated. We have Mathis Garnet too, like the young guys that was always placing in juniors and seniors. So he was the future for us, like the soon future, I can say, because we have a lot of kids coming after. But he decided to stop competition after the nationals. But we know that's the way it is. It's always like that. So new talents are going to come. You know, before it was Hakim Shala and George Pokita, and now it was Julien and Korali. New people are going to come because that's what we work for. We say that we're a competitive club, so it's a matter of time because before we have new people on the national team.
Now, I have three more questions to ask if that's okay time-wise. Is that cool with you?
That's cool. That's cool.
Awesome. Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned, that some people, I guess, retire or decide to move on from the sport. I hear a lot about that happening, obviously, and people have their reasons for it. In those sorts of situations, what quick follow-up, do you try to kind of get them to come back into the sport, or are you just accepting of their decision to quote unquote move on?
It's mostly accepting because, as I told you, it's not easy to do. It's a lot of sacrifices, and I know the sacrifices they're making, and I know the love they have for judo too. So most of the time, if they tell me that they're gonna stop, it's because they analyze it and they think it's the best for them. And what I want ultimately is the best for them because judo lasts some years. It's so short, the judo career, and there's life after. So if they decide to jump into life after earlier than I thought, then I support them too.
That's nice.
Of course, I tell them how good they are and what they could have done.
Right.
But
Yeah.
most of the time the decision is made. They thought about it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on the Canadian national team's prospects at Paris 2024?
I think that it's very impressive what's going on in Canada because at the beginning of that system, I was doubtful. I didn't know if it was going to work. But right now, I can say that at every level, I've been wrong to be doubtful. So I can say that it's very impressive. I think there's a lot of hopeful judo players. I think that those judokas that are making results are going to keep coming because from what I see from the nationals or from the other tournaments, judo is doing good in Canada. Judo is going very well in Canada.
Yeah, no, it sure is, and it's going to be exciting to see. It's literally 40 days or less than 50 days for the start of the Olympics, so it's going to be a very exciting time for Team Canada. Follow-up question, in terms of the Montreal scene, how do you view the combat sports and judo community in Montreal? From your perspective, is the sport of judo thriving in Montreal? Is there much competition amongst the different dojos? And let me give you quick context. I out of curiosity, I Google mapped judo on the island of Montreal, and I saw a ton of clubs pop up, right? And the dojos, pardon me. And I was like, man, there's so many dojos in Montreal compared to, say, where I'm at here in Ottawa. And I didn't really compare other cities, but maybe I should do that for fun, just to visualize it. And I was like, what a thriving, community. And of course, if you follow other combat sports, amateur, professional, Montreal is a hotbed for combat sports, martial arts, as everyone knows. It's got everything for everyone. So that's why I'm asking this question. From your perspective, is the sport of judo thriving in Montreal, particularly the competitive aspect of it?
Oh yeah, definitely. There's so many clubs and there's so many strong clubs in Montreal. You know, you got Shidokan, you got Metropolitain, you have my club, you have there's so many. It's not only that there are a lot of clubs, but there are a lot of clubs that are strong and that are
Mhm.
feeding uh, the Quebec team or the national team
Right.
athletes. So no, yeah, it's definitely.
Is there competition amongst these different dojos?
I would say
How
I wouldn't
competitive?
say that. No, I wouldn't say that.
Okay, okay,
It's the competition is on the mat.
right.
When we get our athletes. But no, everybody's doing their things. Some people are different. So
Right.
some coaches don't like it for their athletes to go to other clubs. But mostly there's not that kind of competition because and one of the big reasons for that is the INS because everybody when you're strong you have to go to the INS.
Mhm.
So the coach have no choice, they know it. So it's no point having a competition with another club because they're all going to go to the INS anyways.
Right.
So that's it. So for sure when we go to the tournaments, like that's what it is. But in reality, it's not. No.
It's interesting you say that because at the Open Nationals, man, it was like it was from what I saw, it was obviously it's a tournament. People are coming, they're bringing their A game, they want to win,
Yeah.
and I could sense the tension in the air, and
Yeah.
from my perspective, it was very dynamic and entertaining. But I think you're right. All roads lead to the INS ultimately, right? It's like everyone.
Yes.
As far as the higher end competition, those who have ambition to really go on and compete internationally. But it's cool that the city has such a thriving judo scene because I don't know if it's like I doubt it's like that in every other city. Just in terms of population, I believe Montreal's got 4 million. You know what I mean? Like Toronto's
Yes.
another interesting one, and
Yes.
and, and they got some really competitive teams as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Now,
Definitely.
Coach, I have one last question for you, and it's a
Yes.
coaching question.
Yes.
Now, reflecting on your role as a coach, how do you personally and professionally measure your success? And the follow-up, what criteria or milestones do you consider most significant in evaluating your impact and achievement in the sport? So the first question is, how do you personally and professionally measure your success as a coach?
Well, I would say that what's important for me is to build a champion, but first of all, to build a, a decent human being, to help people get better. I think that we do all that to win and to be champion, but that's not the end goal. The end goal is to get better, to get stronger mentally, to get that's what it is. So if I the way I measure it is some of my athletes doesn't make it to champion, but they become better persons. That's what it is. That's what it is. And that's what makes me proud. For sure, we have a competitive club. So one way of measuring it is the success of the athletes in competition. For sure I think about that, but my first goal is to make them better person. That's it.
I think that answers the second part of the question. So thank you very much for that. I have just I guess one last question that I tend to ask is what advice would you give to anyone who's wanting to become a better competitor? Uh, what's your best advice to them?
commit,
Mm.
commit 100%, and you're gonna get results. You know, put the work on, and you're gonna get the results. You know, it's one thing to dream about something. You know what? It's one thing to wish to have something, but you have to go get it. Nobody's gonna do it for you. You have to go get it. And for that, there's a lot of aspects that comes in. You know, discipline. You know, if you don't have enough discipline, you won't be able to make it. But it all comes with the commitment to succeed. You know, so for me, that's the most important thing, because if everything comes from that. If I'm committed to the sports that I'm doing, that's what I tell my athletes. If you're committed, all the other tools are gonna come naturally. But if you're not, then maybe sometimes you're gonna lack discipline. Maybe sometimes you're not gonna be able to face the challenges. You know, so that's it. I think committing is the most important thing.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. It's a big one, and I really appreciate your time and everything you've shared and your openness here. It's been fantastic. Thank you very much. It was nice meeting you, but also a couple of weeks ago
Thank you.
the Open Nationals. I hope to see you and your team compete again. So thank you very much for your time, sir, and have a great evening.
Thank you. It was a pleasure for me. I really appreciate that.